Red. Okay, so start tayo ng Mach 2, TOP, and ABSCII. We'll try to finish 2 exams so that tomorrow it will be your free time. Okay? Kasi kung bukas may half day pa, so parang bitin naman yung araw ninyo ng Sunday. So we'll just reserve tomorrow as your free time, and we'll try to finish most of the, of course, all of the mock exams, TOP and ABSCII. You have your questionnaires with you? Oo, sige. Panatan natin itong exam ninyo. Sige. Kunin nyo muna yung sa theories of personality. We'll start with theories of personality. Now, with the theories of personality, the exam difficulty is relatively the same. No? Unlike with the ABSCII, there's a significant qualitative difference between the first mock exam and the second. So the way we construct the mock board exam is really something to confuse the students, to simulate also the scenario in the board exam. So kung mapapansin nyo, the difficulty of the theories of personality is just the same with your mock exam, but with the ABSCII it's relatively difficult. But we'll be able to manage with this, and I think there are also some items in the theories of personality wherein there's some difficult items also. So we will discuss all of this today. Okay? So the way we create the mock exam is also still the same. No? We got questions from different books, also from the professors. I think some of the quizzes were also, there are some items in the quizzes wherein some of the questions are inspired by the items in the quizzes. Okay? So let's start with number 1. Which of the following statement best captures Freud? I do feel this is really a very easy question already. The answer is letter, it should be letter E, right? So, I'll just connect my laptop to the internet. Kasi meron tayong item analysis na itong lahat ng items natin. I was able to save it online. Anyway, so for number 2, our personality is nothing more than acquired habits that we learn through experience. What theory should support this statement? So, when you see the keyword learning, yeah, obvious naman na, diba? It's letter C. And you know that the learning perspective is also called the behaviorist perspective. So, parehas lang sila. Okay, so if in the future you were able to see both behaviorist or learning, it's just the same. Okay? Now, number 3, it refers to determination and risk-taking. This is a Psicoville item, no? So that the answer is letter C, bahala na. Okay? How about in number 4? During blank stage of Freud's theory, the focus is on controlling one's environment. What's your answer here? It's letter boy, no? Anal stage. And you know the different tasks involved with each of the stages, right? Can you still remember that? So, sabi ko nga sa inyo, every time that you see a developmental stage, whether it's Erik Erikson or whether it's Freud, you need to remember the tasks involved, okay? So, with oral stage, anong task ang meron dyan? What are some of the expected tasks there? Can you still remember? No, sa window. Oral stage. Can you shout? What are some of the tasks involved? So, kumbaga, magka-link lang naman yung psychodynamic or yung psychosexual stages ni Freud and also with Erik Erikson. So the task actually somehow shares the same concept. Okay? So if you're talking about the oral stage, so definitely what are some of the tasks involved? So you want to develop what? Trust, and the concept of care is also being developed. So remember, infants are actually very dependent with their caregivers to the point that even their individuality is really subsumed with their caregivers. Okay? So the mere fact that their caregivers are giving care to them, they're feeding the infant, attending to their needs. No? So natututunan ng mga infants yung idea ng discomfort and also the idea ng being comfortable kasi merong ibang tao na nag-care sa kanila at that stage. Okay? Now, with the anal stage, it's more about control. It's more about control issues. Kaya nga sabi na nila, if your concern in the future, psychopathological concern, is about control. For example, you have compulsions or addiction, substance use, gambling, internet addiction, or some repetitive behaviors, or problems with disinhibition, problems with self-regulation, emotional regulation, so anything about control. So most of the time, it is psychoanalytic perspective, you link it with the anal stage. Bakit kaya? The creative reason is what? During the anal stage, anong ginagawa? Toilet training, bladder control, no? So they need to be able to master themselves so that if they will be able to master themselves, then definitely they have a primordial understanding of control, no? Phallic stage. So this is the next stage. So one of the tasks is actually to form a primordial understanding about gender, roles. Latency, it's the libidinal energies is in the environment, and as you link it with the Erik Eriksonian psychosocial stage, the latency is saan? Ano yan? Industry versus inferiority. Anong age group? We're talking about school age already. So yun nga, di ba? We're talking about competition, cooperation, anything about interacting with the peers in the environment. So yeah, dyan nagsisimula. And then of course, genital stage, you link it with Erik Erikson's identity versus role, diffusion, and you know that forming your own identity is some of the tasks here, aside from what? Aside from, of course, forming relationship with opposite sex, or romantic relationships, and yun, okay? So remember that, diba, even with the first mock exam, inana na natin ito, nagkaroon tayo ng discussion about this. Okay, so number 5. According to Freud, your memory of your own birth would be at what level of consciousness? Unconscious, of course, letter A. Okay? So, how about in number 6? Proponents of which theory might suggest that traits such as introversion and extroversion could be changed over time if properly reinforced. So, nandun yung idea, it can be changed, no? So, number 6, it's letter C again, it's learning. Okay. Pero that does not mean that the outer perspective does not have any mechanism for changing your personality or somehow improving or having some variability with personality. Pero the focus here, especially with the learning perspective, is that the personality is relatively malleable when it comes to how we form our behaviors and affect our cognition. Okay? Now, number 7. The humanistic approach to personality makes which of the following claim? Of course, everyone is inherently good. Letter A, number 7. Okay? How about in number 8? Phil has anxiety because he has very strong anger towards his parents. He knows that isn't right, so he decides to work hard to do all his chores. According to psychoanalytic approach, engaging in what defense meant. So ito, sublimation ito. Number 8, letter boy. Okay. So please remember the different, what's this? Defense mechanism. Okay? So, titignan mong napakasimple niya sublimation pero may mga ilan pang nagkamali dyan based sa item analysis. Okay? So, dapat pagdating niya ng 3rd, 4th, 5th, and of course even on 6th mock exam, dapat most of your answers, majority of you already from 80 to 80 to almost 100% of the population, you guys, who took the exam, kailangan nandun kayo sa tamang sagot. Kasi based sa analysis, you will see some of the students are being confused by the other items. So meron talaga mga choices here, no, not just with this item in number 8, no, but with the other items, even with the abstract and the other subjects. Wherein dalawang grupo yung magkaiba, no? Isa sasagutin yung tama, then another one will answer another choice. So it's a clear picture of confusion when it comes to some of the choices are being distractors. So nalilito yung mga students. So you need to reorganize. And remember last time you did the ZPD activity, so somehow you were able to see now if you are having correct answers the second time around, if you have the answers incorrect the first time, no? So you check, tignan nyo kung tumatama kayo dun sa mga items. How about in number 9? The most common complaint about Freud's psychoanalytic theory is letter E, lack of empirical support. So tama naman yung letter A. Meron siyang rule about sexuality. To the point that even Jung will tell us that it's really so very sexual. The divergence actually happened between the two psychoanalysts, no? Ignores unconscious, ano yun, number 9, diba? Ignores unconscious force that drive behavior, of course. Overemphasize the role of reinforcement. Hindi yun, no? Letter B, hindi, no? It actually adheres, no? Yung overemphasize, mali, kasi it's about reinforcement and punishment. Too optimistic, hindi rin, no? It's about humanistic perspective. So, it's more of letter E, the best answer here. Number 10, Jeff experiences a lot of aggressive feelings toward overprotective stepfather. Because he is powerless, Jeff becomes very aggressive player on this basketball team. Okay? According to Freud, this is an example of what? The best answer here is actually letter number 10, boy. No? So instead of the aggression, that so yung alam niyo, imbes na magalit siya sa tatay niya, no, all the energies are actually being used as a player, no? Although also nagre-reflect din yung pagiging aggressive niya, no? So that will be letter E. How about in number 11? Oh, ito, defense mechanism ulit. Jose applied for a full scholarship to a local university and made it to the semifinals. But it was announced that another student won. So ngayon, nasabi niya, i-criticize na yung school, rude daw yung mga professors, hindi naman daw matatali. Number 11 should be letter E, rationalization. Okay. So ito, nag-provide siya ng iba-ibang reasons so that he will be able to make it up for himself na kahit bumagsak na okay lang or kahit hindi siya ang nanalo, no? So it's rationalization. Okay.
Sweet lemoning ba yun? Or sour gravy?
Sour gravy. Oo. Sour gravy kasi pangit yung outcome niya eh. So, previously, feeling niya okay. Eh, bakit yung outcome? So, sasabihin, ay, hindi naman masarap yan. No? Ang sweet lemonade, yung bakit yung parehas naman pangit yung outcome. Pero, you try to make a positive outlook out of the scenario. Na yung common scenario with the sweet lemoning is it's a learning experience. The experience is more important than the outcome, di ba? Alam mo yung mga Miss Universe na sagot, di ba? Kahit natalo sila, sasabihin nila they're actually after the experience, not the crown. Diyos ko, ang puhunan sa pagiging Miss Universe, di ba? Halos teenager pa lang yan. Wala nang ginawa kundi maglakad. O practice yung lakad. Well, baka naman kasi nga ganun lang talaga. So, we are not in the proper position to judge. So, number 12. In Freud's theory of personality, the blank is seat of impulses, letter E. Of course, it's id. And you know that id is behind the principle about this innate impulses, etc. So this is, pero napakasimple ito, may nagkamali pa. May mga ilan pa nagkamali dito. Please, yung mga ganun nalilito lang eh. Probably with the ZPD activity, you're able to correct yourselves. Baka nalito lang with the shading, I'm not sure. Pero kaunti lang naman sila. Number 13, when we attribute our shortcomings, faults, problems to others, we are using which defense mechanism? So obviously, it's letter boy, 13. Di ba sabi nga sa inyo, if you blame the other person about your automatic, no? Pag ang object of blaming is a person, then that's it. It's projection. 14, redirecting our instinctual urges and aggression is 14 letter A. Ito yung sublimation. So by now, siguro sa alam nila yung signature situation for sublimation. Okay? So you may want to read the defense mechanism, including the signature scenarios. May mga kwento ng buhay yan. Pare-pares lang naman sila halos ng pattern. So far, the report in the past board exams, hindi masyadong lumalabas, parang wala nang lumalabas na defense mechanism. Pero, malay nyo, this year, biglang may lumabas, we just you need to prepare yourselves, okay? Besides, if we're talking about the psychoanalytic perspective, the psychodynamic perspective, ang tanging, on my own personal opinion, the one that is very relevant to your patient when it comes to talking about the coping mechanism, the intervention, etc. is actually the defense mechanism. Okay? Yun yung entry point nyo eh. Even with assessing your clients, if your frame is psychodynamic, ang una nyo hahanapin ng mga telltale signs is actually the defense mech eh. Pag nagpapakita siya ng defense mech, ibig sabihin, something is happening in the structure of personality. Nakuha niyo yung point? Ibig sabihin, the ego is doing something. No? It's patching up things with the id and balancing things with the superego, etc. So, something is happening there. So, by just assessing whether the patient have maladaptive responses, defense mechanisms such as this, that's already a big clue to you, okay? Especially for those who have a psychodynamic frame of thinking, especially when assessing. Actually, even if you're not fully subscribing with the psychoanalytic or psychodynamic perspective, it pays to know, no? Especially when you're doing your assessment, this defense mechanism. Sinasama talaga yan sa documentation. So, mali pa sa mental study, kasama na dyan yung history taking niya and the way they cope with the problem. Okay? So, dapat i-note nyo rin yan. Okay? Number 16. 15 pa lang ba tayo? Ayan. Which of the following defense mechanisms involve pushing painful information deep into our memory? So obviously it's dog, no? Denial. So there's actually a concern in number 15 regarding makinig muna. This is actually a very tricky question when it comes to defense mechanism, especially when we're talking about denial, repression, regression. Okay, so if we're talking about now, probably most of you were able to anong nangyayari dyan? Nadidistract ako eh. Oo. Anong concern tayo? Anong concern?
Yung mga sub-items, may mga ewan po yung naibigay sa amin last time.
Bakit? Anong
Outdated po yung nabigay sa amin.
Bakit outdated?
Yung Macro series, 2016 ata na.
Lahat kayo, pare-parehas pa tayo ng, yung iba, okay.
May nahala na 2016 ata.
Dapat, 2017 series.
Sa pag...
Yun ang problema. Okay lang natin mag-move on. So the answer in 15 is letter dog, denial. Now, there is a concern when it comes to denial and repression. Okay? Now, different literatures will lead us to different explanation between the two. Okay? For the benefit of the board exam, we will consider denial as a defense mechanism. Okay? And most of the books are actually considering denial as a defense mechanism. But some of the literature will tell us that denial is actually a basic mechanism of the defense mechanism. Nakuha niyo yung point? If you will be able to see most of the defense mechanism, for example, repression, there's a painful experience, you deny it, kaya na-push back siya, or your ego, actually po pwede nga rin repression, no? Check natin ha. Si Sir Ron ang nagturo sa inyo, no? Kasi ang naaalala ko, with Sir Ron's literature, the repression is the mother of, kumbaga siya yung pinaka one of the basic defense mechanisms. Okay. Sige. Oo, yun ang natin eh. Yun ang nasa lecture natin. So, sige. Ko-collaborate ko to kay Sir Ron. Pero, sino sumagot ang denial? Repression. Puro repression ang sinagot nyo. Sige. Tanong ko, baka naman mali lang tong answer key natin dito. Pero parang ang repression ay hindi na. Although, what we have researched in the past, kasi we were creating a book, and one of the things that we are looking here is the status of denial as a defense mechanism. So, for the benefit of the board exam and most of the books, textbooks, no, they consider denial as a defense mechanism. Although yung mga extant literatures with Freud, he actually does not consider denial as a defense mechanism per se. Para siyang yun yung parang mechanism on how defense mechanism works. There is an element of denial. And depende na lang kung paano yung response no sa denial mo. So there is a painful experience. Of course, the initial response is denial. So kung repression, it's they will be the painful experience will be pushed back to the unconscious. Kung naman regression ka, the response is actually you act as if you're in the early developmental stage, no? And kung reaction formation naman, the other way around, no? That rebound, iba yung actuations mo versus doon sa talagang initial reaction mo. So, kumbaga, everything has an element of denial. The difference is on the way they respond. No? The way that the specific, that's why there are different defense mechanisms. Parang gano'n. Anyway, I'll collaborate with Sir Rod with here. But mukhang letter E nga ito. No? Repression. E, okay? So, number 16. No? According to Freud, a defense mechanism is used when a person encounters anxiety and it acts to protect the person's ego. Letter A. Okay. How about in 17? In a research report, you mentioned that Freud saw personality as having 3 types of mind. What do you write about the conscious mind? So may iba-ibang labels, no? May iba levels of consciousness. Ito, types of mind. So different books will actually label different concepts, especially with the psychoanalytic perspective. Sometimes they are lost in translation because some of the literatures are actually written in other languages, and some researchers will also put their own insights. Anyway, number 17, your answer should be letter. Oh, letter 2. No, that's the best answer here. Those things that are readily accessible. 18, you tell your students that Freud theorized from observing and treating his neurotic patients that humans are born with 2 basic instincts. 18 should be letter B, no? The death instinct. Okay. So tinatanong lang dito kung alam niyo yung mga terminologies na yan. I think kay Feist, no, maraming mga discussion regarding here. So you may want to read in those books if you have access to it. Number 19, according to Freud, memories and emotions are so threatening to conscious mind they have been repressed and stored in what? 19, letter boy, unconscious. Okay? The rest is just distractors. Okay? 20, from Freud's perspective, which personality structures dominates earliest in childhood? 20, letter C, id. Remember, di ba, na-discuss natin yan dati, no, regarding the development, the id, ego, and superego. You know that id, kapag pinanganak kayo, you have that instinctual drives already, where id is actually participating on it. And ego will be developed somewhere around 6 months, going 1 year old. Superego somewhere around 7 years old to be fully developed, at least on a general note. So, 21, the identity crisis is termed by letter C, Erickson. And tututusin siya nga lang ilalagay siya. So, sometimes, some questions in the board exam, no, they will just give you some items wherein distractor lang talaga, pampawala ng moral. No? Pero kung tutusin, kung alam niyo naman yung isang item, makukuha niyo naman yung sagot dyan. 22. You are telling your students that stages included in Erickson's developmental theory unfold. Tinatanong lang dito kung ilan daw yung stages. So another tricky but actually easy question ito. 22, letter C. 8. Diba? And the last stage is what? Ego, integrity versus despair. Diba? Remember those stages? Unlike with Freud, hanggang genital stage lang, and then after that, you're good to go. You're good to go with your genitals. But with Erik Erikson, the focus is on the social interaction. Kaya meron pa siyang stage for the middle adulthood and also for the late adulthood. So yun, number na tayo, 23. Oh, client of yours is going through middle adulthood. Oh, yan na nga yun. He is experiencing a fight of productivity, ability to create career, family, leisure time versus self-absorption. What can you guess about his age? So another tricky question na naman dito. The answer here is letter C. No? 35 to 65. Diba yung generativity versus stagnation? The generativity versus stagnation is not just about work. Although you know that the bulk of your adult life, especially here in the middle adulthood, is actually on the career development. No? It's actually safe to argue that the highlight of an adult life is actually on career. Pero it's not only the career that generativity or stagnation can be felt. No? Yung iba, they are so fulfilled with their careers, pero yung isang aspect ng life nila hindi nababalanse. No? So, halimbawa, yung kanilang family life. So, productive sila dun sa isang aspect ng buhay nila, pero nag-stagnate naman sila dun sa ibang aspect ng life nila. So, problema pa din yun. No? So, dapat there should be a balance when it comes to this life goals. Okay? Kasi sometimes, okay, o sasabihin nila, okay, sige, hindi same yan sa kanila, no? They don't have self-awareness na nag-stagnate sila dun sa isang aspect ng life nila. Babalik yun pagdating ng ego, integrity versus despair. Wherein, pagtapos nila all their middle adulthood life, nandun na sila sa old age, and they are reminiscing about things. Andiyan na darating, no, sana nagawa ko yung ganito, ay hindi ko nakita masyado yung anak ko ganito, ay hindi ko nagawa yung ganito. So those regrets are actually what? Creeping in with their ego integrity. Makikita nila pag nag-inspect sila ng life nila, may kulang. So, kapag nag-reflect sila about their identity, sasabihin nila, may mga hindi sila nagawa. And di ba, ang goal nga with the ego integrity versus despair is actually to really have this solid and acceptance about yourself when it comes to your identity, etc. as you grow your age. No? So, yan. So, hindi lang siya about work. Okay? So, 23 is letter C. 24. According to Erikson, an adolescent is not able to integrate all or his or previous goals into single concept. So 24 is letter B, identity crisis, of course. And the rest are actually not of Erikson. Diba? 25. Erikson's theory is based on principle that each strand, alam niyo na to, letter A, epigenetic principle. Oh, majority of you alam niyo, pero alam niyo yung mga madadaling tanong dito, may iba pa nagkakamali, ha? So, may mga yung dalawa, tatlo. So, I do feel that those people nalito lang sa pag-faith, no? In good faith. Pero kung talagang hindi niyo siya alam, you need to read these items. Or probably kung sa ZPT activity, you were able to change already. Nung nakita niyo, ay, nakadrugs yata ako na, hindi. Mali. Simple lang to na ano ko pa. No, may hangover siguro kayo, na hindi ko alam. Kasi minsan may iba sobrang dali, may nagkakamali pa. So, pero wag kayong malungkot kung kayo yung isa sa mga taong nabangingi sa pag-shave doon. regardless of whether alam nyo o hindi, no? Wag nyo naman i-down yung sarili nyo. Ibig lang sabihin, talagang sinusuyod lang natin yung mga bagay na alam nyo, hindi nyo alam, para pagdating nyo ng board exam, solid na yan. No? Mas maganda na magkamali na kayo ngayon. Kaysa sa ano pa kayo magkakamali sa day ng board exam. Okay? Tsaka kung alam nyo yan, tapos nagkamali kayo, ma-assess nyo sa sarili nyo, may problema kayo sa test taking during exam period. So that's beyond knowledge. It's more about the testmanship na, the behavior you have during exam. No? So, ibig sabihin, baka nire-nervous kayo, etc. So this is a good way to assess that. Okay, 27. One of Piaget's cognitive stages is called concrete operation. So, tinatanong lang edad. Now, sir, it's cognitive development 26 pa lang ba? Okay. 26. So, Erickson's theory is classified as one of the maturation theories. So, anong ibig sabihin? Kung maturation siya. The best answer here is letter C. Okay. So if we're talking about maturation theories, no, it's also vis-a-vis with the learning theory. Or the idea of the maturation theory is there is actually growth and development, there's change along the way. And this change are actually most of the time triggered by what? Katulad niyan, it's letter C, no? Programmed by heredity. So meron kang predisposition to really go towards that area of development. So that's maturation. Okay. Number 27. So yung 27, ito yung age range na naman to. The answer here is letter C. Okay. 6 to 12. And you can still remember cognitive perspective. The cognitive development. So, this is relatively distal to most of the personality theories. Okay? But the idea here is most of the mechanisms, especially if you're trying to form your personality, there's actually a cognitive element in it. You try to appraise certain social interaction, and even the way we abstract things, etc. So that might actually also give clue as to how people conceptualize themselves and their relationship with the other people. So nakaka-apekto din siya kahit pa paano. And there might be some clincher question in the board exam. We don't know. We just need to prepare ourselves with this. No? So just to review again, Piaget's cognitive stages. You still remember this with your, saan nyo tinake nyo? Gen side? Ed side? Dev side. Okay. Pero most of the time, pare-pare sa dadaanan yan nabibigyan sa Gen side, even Ed side, diba? So we're talking about, ano yung unang stage niya? Actually, dito na yan sa number 28 yan yung pinag-uusapan sa 28 no? We're talking about the first stage, yung sensory motor, di ba? Sensory motor stage is from what age ranges. So yun yung 0 to 2 years. So number 27, yun yung 0 to 2 years. And the way they navigate the world or make sense of the world is actually through their senses. So they need to move around, they need to touch things, even put it into their mouths. They need to feel things so that they'll be able to have this mental representation that this thing is actually existing and I'm actually a separate entity to this object, no? So that's what's happening with sensory motor stage. Going towards pre-operational stage, that is 2 to 6 years old. Okay? So the hallmark sign of having, paano nyo malalaman? Sir, paano namin malalaman kung nasa pre-operational stage na siya? No, you are in the pre-operational already if you are, what? Okay na yung ability mo to have mental representation. Kasi yun yung tinatrabaho dun sa 0 to 2 years old eh. No? How to navigate the world. And then going towards the pre-operational, you have this mental representation already. And then going towards the concrete operations, which is 6 to 12. No? So ibig sabihin, sir, yung 2 to 6, yung toddlerhood years, tsaka preschool under pre-operational, oo, tama. And then going towards the concrete operation from 6 to 12, which is the school age, no? What's the hallmark sign that the person is already on the concrete operations? Anong sagot doon? Can you still remember that? The idea about conservation. No? So if the person can already conserve, the idea of conservation hindi yung sa pera ha, hindi kung marunong na magtago ng pera, hindi. You know that. So with the idea of the conservation, they are able to what? Know the difference of a certain external qualities versus the internal qualities. Especially with quantity, with the size, even with the weight. So, for example, a certain activity, may 5 barya, for example. Pag pinagpila-pila mo yung 5 barya, tapos yung pangalawang linya naman ng mga barya, 5 din, pero magkakahiwalay. So, tatanong mo, alin na mas maraming pera? So, sasabihin ng bata, pag hindi pa siya marunong wala pa siya nung ability o dun sa conservation task, no? Pag nag-fail siya doon, ang sagot niya, malamang sa malamang, yung mahaba. Kala niya mas maraming pera yon, pero hindi, hiwa-hiwalay lang yun eh. Diba? Pero pag sinabi nila parehas lang yun, then ibig sabihin, the child can already conserve and nandun na siya sa concrete operations. No? Now, I remember my mother, she's telling me, dati nung maliit pa siya, kasi doon, di ba, ang mga barya, malalaking piso yun, yung mabibigat. Nakakita pa kayo ng gano'n. Isang piso natin ngayon, kahit lulukin mo, hindi ka mamamatay eh. Gagamitin mo pang suicide, walang kwenta eh. Yung mga piso nun, malalaking gano'n, tsaka makakapal. So, binigyan siya Aguinaldo, 20 na gano'n. Di ang bigat, no? Sarap ilagay sa bulsa, tumutunog, Pasko. So, sabi nung tito niya, palitan na natin yan ng papel na 20 para hindi mabigat. Ayaw niya papalit. Kasi niloloko lang daw siya ng tito niya. Ba't papalitan ng papel? Ito nga, puro 20 to, tapos papalit mo isang pirasong papel. So, hindi pa niya alam yon. So, malamang, ano pa lang siya nun. Wala pa siya sa school age, no? Prep para elementary siguro. Na nasa, below 6 years old siguro. Siguro, we don't know. There are some research that will tell us that different cultures or different folk cultures will also have different behavioral markers for each of the stages. Saka nagkakaiba-iba sa age range. No? Pero ito kasi, this is by the book, no? For the benefit of the board exam, mainstream age ranges. No? And some folk cultures will not even go to the formal operations. No, yung formal operations natin, 12 years old, going adolescent stage, ano ang hallmark sign niyan? The child or the adolescent can already have abstraction. Right? So, there are some folk cultures wherein hindi sila umaabot even sa formal operation. So, that's a problem. Now, the problem with the cognitive development stages, or at least the challenge, or the idea here is, the cognitive development is highly linked also to the moral development. So, if you're talking about the moral development by Kohlberg, for example, the anchor is actually on the cognitive development. So, parang yung idea, you cannot actually abstract the idea of democracy, freedom, di ba, ng morality, if you're not in the formal operations. So ibig sabihin, importante yung developmental stages ni Piaget. Kasi it actually gives us some clue if we're talking about the cognitive development model of our morality. Okay? There's actually what you call post-formal operations, popularized by neo-Piagetian researchers somewhere around going out of good years na. So with the post-formal operation, the idea is thinking about your thinking, metacognitive skills. So kung sa formal operations, you were able to abstract the idea of democracy. Na alam mo, that okay, democracy is about giving equal opportunity and also this and that and that. Pag nasa post-formal ka, the idea is you're actually assessing the things that you are thinking to the point na iniisip mo, okay, democracy parang hindi naman sa lahat ng panahon maganda siyang pakinggan. No? Nakuha niyo yung point. May time ba kayo ganun? May time kayong ganun yung ano? Halimbawa, election time. Election day. Sino dito yung parang feeling na sana hindi na lang lahat ng tao bumoboto? Kasi hindi naman lahat ng tao marunong bumoto, marunong pumili ng tamang kandidato. Nakuha niyo yung point? So, dumadating ka sa point na yung abstract thinking mo, pinag-iisipan mo kung applicable nga ba yun? Ganun nga ba yun? No? So, pero may anchor yun, just to explain the idea. Baka kasi hindi na-explain to sa inyo sa undergrad years. Ang pinakamalaking epekto niya is on the moral development. Kasi darating yung time na wala palang fixed, there's actually no fixed things in morality. It's actually anchored with your cognitive development, together with your culture, etc., etc. No? So, for example, we did an analysis with, for example, with the ISIS. You know, the ISIS group, di ba, mga terorista, yung mga yan. So, when we try to look deeper in how they think, we somehow conclude that, theoretically speaking, linking their morality, they're actually moral. They are moral because they are responding to the truth that they know. No? So, magkaiba tayo ng truth na pinangahawakan, magkaiba yung abstract thinking na kinalakihan nila, pero may abstract thinking sila. Pero iba nga lang yung ina-abstract nila. Nakuha niyo yung point? So, cognitive developmentally speaking, nag-develop sila. Okay? Pero, iba yung truth na pinangahawakan nila. So, malaking challenge yun. It's one of the criticisms with the moral development. Anyway, if you want to research on that, both philosophically and psychologically, you may want to do so. And go to Marawi, talk to the Mautes, and ask them to... Anyway, number ano tayo? 29. Oh. So yung 28 letter C, di ba? Concrete operation. Marked. No? Marked by conservation of numbers and weight. So ibig sabihin, meron na. Pag meron na, nasa concrete operations na. Pero, if we're asking whether saan ina-assess usually yung conservation task or saan ginagawa yung conservation task, ang sagot ay sa pre-operational. Diba? Siyempre, ba't naman magko-conservation task sa adolescents? Ang weird, diba? Kasi alam mo na, marunong na sila nun. More so, baka marunong na sila mag-abstract. Wala rin na makakwenta-kwenta ng mag-conservation task, mag-a-assess ka kung sa sensory motor ka. Dahil alam mo na talagang they cannot really surpass that. Dahil even mental representation, wala pa nga sila. They might not even understand ano yung barya. Nakuha niyo po. So if we're assessing, it's on the pre-operational. Pero when it appears already na pumasa na siya doon, nasa concrete operations na kayo. Okay? 29. Which of the following do you think is true about the first stage? Ito ay, surprisingly, Piaget also conceptualized a theory of morality. No? Pero very simple lang sa kanya. The answer 29 is letter A. No? Heteronomous morality. Actually, may mas mauuna pa dyan. Pero wala dyan sa choices eh. Yun yung tinatawag na amoral stage. So sabi ni Piaget, pag below 4 years old ka pa, amoral stage pa yun. Yung kahit anong tanungin mo sa kanya, na sa tingin mo ba tama na tanggalin sa prangkisa yung Uber at Grab? Tatanungin mo 3 years old. Wala. Sumagot man niya ng oo o hindi, you cannot judge whether they're acting on a moral plane of understanding, nor even they understood the idea or not. So it's amoral. Pagdating ng 4 to 7, heteronomous morality develops. Now the 4 to 7 is already going towards the pre-operational stage, diba? It's the pre-operational. It's coinciding with the pre-operational stage, going towards the concrete. And the idea is they have this morality based on what the other people is telling them. Okay? So pag sinabi ni Mami na mali yan, mali yan. Oh. And they will agree. Okay? Pero pagdating ng autonomous morality, somewhere around 7 to 10 and above, so, ibig sabihin that the child can already somehow have autonomous way of determining whether things are right or wrong. At least on their own understanding. We were not saying na pag sinabi ng 7 years old, ganito is tama talaga kung ano. Okay? For all you know, baka may ibang truth lang din siyang pinangahawakan. Pero the idea is the mechanism is already there. The child is already somehow trying to be autonomous when thinking about things. So, yun. So, the best answer in number 29 is, of course, heteronomous morality. It's letter A. But mali letter B kasi, the autonomous morality na yung somewhere around age 10. Okay. 7 to 10 kasi yan eh. Autonomous. Okay. So, mali rin yung letter C. Kasi hindi nga, yung 4 to 7 niya, heteronomous yun. Mali rin yung letter D. Kasi nga hindi nga siya yung first stage. Kahit na tama yung idea, pero hindi siya first stage. So, the best answer is letter A. Okay. So, actually madali yung moral stage ni Piaget eh. It's commonsensical, di ba? Under 4, wala pa yan. Talagang kahit ano sabihin niya, wala namang kamalay-malay yan. Diba? Kahit naman kayo, with your siblings probably, na maliliit pa sila. Okay? And yun nga, again and again, we're seeing the magic 7 as some kind of developmental marker, di ba? No? Super ego, 7. So, So kaya nga pwede na yung, pwede na siya ng autonomous morality, starting 7 onwards, no? More so going 10 and above. Kasi the super ego is somehow developed already. So meron na siyang way to benchmark and also look into his or her own morality. Okay? So you may want to read. We don't know if this will appear in the board exam. It might appear as a clincher question. It might appear as a distractor. But at least you see that these terminologies and concepts are existing and you know where are they located so that in the day of the board exam, lumabas man yan sa choices, alam nyo kung related siya doon sa tinatanong ko nito. May eliminate mo kung kailangan eliminate o masasagot mo siya kung siya yung sagot. Okay? Number 30. In a research paper, you write, according to Piaget, 3 major mechanisms the child to adapt, therefore move from one stage to the next, include assimilation and accommodation. Ano yung pangatlong mechanism? So ito, very simple question. It's just identification of from the choices. 30 is letter B, boy. Equilibration. So may mekanismo daw paano natututo ang tao. Okay. So una, okay, you don't have any concern, things are okay, you have an understanding, wala ka namang kaproblema sa buhay, and then suddenly there's a new concept, suddenly there's a new experience, suddenly there's a eureka, suddenly there's a situation wherein bigla kang nalito, bigla kang namangha, bigla kang na-curious, etc. That's the time of disequilibration. So there's a period na equilibrated ka wherein you're okay on the equilibrium, things are balanced, everything is okay. And then something happens, kaya ka biglang naguluhan. No? Biglang dumating yung, di mo alam kung si Mr. Like yun, so naguluhan ka. No? Na-disequilibrate ka. Ngayon, para matuto ka, it's either you assimilate or you accommodate. Pag-assimilate, yung new information, you take it in all together and form it as part of your knowledge base or your understanding. Pag-accommodation naman, of course, there's something new that happened. Ikaw, yung previous understanding mo, you try to tweak it so that you will be able to make sense of what happened in the environment. Okay? So sometimes it happens both ways, no? You assimilate and also you accommodate previous learning that you have. For example, in the review, kapag talagang walang-wala, tabula rasa yung utak mo, walang laman. Tapos si Sir Chester, kung ano pinagsasabi, yun, na-assimilate mo yun. Pero pag nag-mock exam na, syempre may laman na yung alam nyo na. Pero pag nagkamali pa kayo o merong konting changes doon sa question, kaya nalito kayo, so pag sinabi na yung tamang sagot, you try to accommodate the way of thinking that was imparted to you and try to change whatever understanding you have in the past para matuto kayo. Ngayon, pag okay ka na, naintindihan ko na, so balik ka ulit sa equilibration or the equilibrium. Ganun daw yung process, no? Ng pagkatuto ng isang tao. Sir, bakit gano'n? Hindi po pwede wala na lang yung equilibration na yung mga chance. Bakit yung mga bata parang na-assimilate lang nila on and on and on and on and on? No? So, actually, we just stumbled upon a certain limitation of Piaget's theory, especially with this mechanism. No? Pero kung tutusin sa atin, it makes sense, no? Meron ba kayong time na halimbawa, may sinabing joke yung classmate nyo o friends nyo, tapos hindi nyo mag-gets, tapos hindi kayo matahimik. Di ba may ganun? O kaya naman ba sa classroom, may sinasabi yung professor, tapos hindi mo talaga mag-gets. Ano daw? O yun, disequilibration yun. Minsan di ba may ganun, parang hindi kayo matahimik. O kaya kung hindi naman na hindi matahimik, yung bang parang may hinahanap kayong sagot sa katanungan. Tanong sa isip mo. Kaya lang walang sagot sa tanong. So, ganun daw yung proseso. Ganun yung proseso. Whether it's also the same with infants and toddlers, That is something for us to look into behaviorally and cognitively. Kasi di ba yung mga baby, parang hindi pa sila nag-disequilibrium. At least sa tingin natin on an adult perspective. Natututunan na lang nila na natututunan. So, anyway. O baka naman we stumbled upon certain biological mechanisms of learning where in certain critical periods sa umpisa, ang driver ng learning is more biological. They just assimilate, automatic lang. Pero later on, when they have this mechanism to understand the environment, absorb it, process it, that's the time na nagkakaroon ng equilibration. Play of thoughts. Pero maybe we need to read more about this. There's a lot of things written already with Piaget. So probably the questions that's running into our minds now are actually already explained in most of the research. Anyway, 31. You observe your little son's current schemas cannot process new information. What do you term this? 31, it's letter C. Yun, disequilibration, di ba? Yun nga eh, hindi siya naintindihan o may kakaiba, may bago, no? Okay. 32. This stage is characterized by egocentric pattern of thinking. The best answer in 32 is letter boy. Pre-operational stage. Egocentric nga yung pattern of thinking nila, kaya hindi sila makapag-succeed dun sa conservation task. Yung pitchel, saka yung tubig, di ba? Kala nila magkaiba. Kasi sa perspective nila, magkaiba, mas marami yung isa kasi mas matangkad. They're not able to see that the perspective behind this is about the volume by volume is actually the same. Familiar kayo doon sa mountain tree mountain task, parang ganon. Wherein may diorama dyan na may mountain, may bahay, tsaka may doll. Ngayon, tatanungin mo yung bata, ano kaya ang nakikita ng doll? Naalala niyo yun? Kasi kapag nasagot nila kung ano yung sa tingin ng bata na nakikita ng doll doon sa scenario, ibig sabihin, meron na siyang nakasucceed na siya sa conservation task. Hindi na siya egocentric pattern of thinking. Kasi pag egocentric pattern of thinking pa rin, yung perspective ko yung sa perspective ng bata, nasa kaliwa yung bahay. Sa perspective ng doll, nasa kanan yung bahay. So pag hindi na siya egocentric, ang masasagot niya yung perspective ng doll. Okay. Alam niyo yung Aunt Sally na task? Meron din yun eh. Mamaya hanapin ko yung slides ko doon. Doon ko malalaman kung sino sa inyo yung may egocentric at autistic tendency. Kasi di ba yung mga clients with autism, they don't have the idea of what? Yung theory of mind. You're familiar with the term theory of mind? It's not a theory, it's a concept. Yung theory of mind is the idea that you know that there is actually another perspective. Na itong tao ko, mayroon siyang sarili perspective. May sarili siyang iniisip at thoughts. Nakaiba sa akin. So yun. So yung mga bata, minsan wala silang ganong idea. Kaya minsan naiinis sila kasi gusto nila yung candy, hindi nila maintindihan bakit hindi binibigay ng nanay nila. Kasi ang pagkakaintindi nila, dapat alam din ng nanay nila na gusto nila yung candy. Parang gano'n, nakuha niyo po. So, alam lang nila na may nanay sila, pero the way that some of the children think during those period, hindi pa rin totally separated. Kasi nga, hindi pa na-develop yung theory of mind. No? So, that's a possibility. Okay? Mamaya papakita ko tapos check natin sa inyo. No? Sa inyo. Ano na tayo? 30. Magkwentuhan na lang tayo. 33, a friend of yours wants to know about the incorporation of old ideas or old habits. O, alam nyo na to, di ba na-explain natin kanina? 33C, assimilation. And you know that projection, hindi ito included sa projection is really a very big distractor there. 34, while going to new college, your youngest sister is ready to change her conception requirements to adjust herself to the new environment. Obviously, it's accommodation, letter A. You observe that the child, number 35, is egocentric when? 35, letter A. Not able to view another vantage point. So, yan. So, yung iba, hindi yan, hindi porket mahaba yung C at D, yun ang sabi. Sino ba yung iba ganon? Kung ano yung mahaba, yun siguro. Hindi, ba, intindihin nyo yung thoughts, ha? Yan ang problema sa mga estudyante. Minsan, pag tinatamad na, yung mahaba na lang. Yung thought ang intindihin nyo. Okay? Number tayo, 36. You are telling your students about the quality of focusing on a key feature rather on the whole object. O, ito na yun, 36 letter. Ito, centration ang tawag dito. Naka-center lang sila, no? Ang focus nila doon sa isang key feature or central feature. Centration yan. Now, kapag hindi na sila egocentric, or wala na silang centration issues, yun na yung conservation. Okay? So yung conservation dito, ano yan, ibig sabihin, okay na sila, nasa concrete operations na sila. Okay? At least na-encounter nyo yung different terminologies. Ipatuman yan sa inyo as a distractor. Alam nyo na hindi sila ang sagot or sila yung sagot depende sa tinatanong sa board exam. Okay? 37. In this stage, the child is able to think abstractly, logically, apply systematic deductive reasoning, etc. etc. Ito ay, alam niyo na, 37, the formal operation. So, now, are you familiar with the Elkind? Elkind is a researcher. And he's the one who popularized the idea in number 38. No, the belief that others is preoccupied with the adolescent as adolescent with himself. 38 is letter A, no, imaginary audience concept. And this is about the adolescent egocentrism. Can you still remember that? This is not a new terminology. This is something that you took in your undergrad years. What is adolescent egocentrism? Ha?
So parang feeling is spotlight effect siya.
Oo, parang gano'n. Yun yung,
center ng...
yun yung imaginary audience concept eh. And then yung personal fable naman, yan yung feeling niya, his or her own stories are actually really unique. When in fact, lahat naman ng mga adolescents, ganun na experience, no? So, in number 39, ang sagot ay letter O. Yan yung personal fable concept. Now, Elkind proposed the idea that the strength that you get from the previous stage is actually your next limitation on your next stage. Nakuha niyo yung point? Halimbawa, sensory motor. Para makaproceed ka sa pre-operational, kailangan magkaroon ka ng mental representation. Dahil marunong ka na mag-mental representation, strength yon. Kaya ka napunta ng pre-operational. Kaya lang, pwede rin siya maging limitation. Dahil may mental representation ka, depende sa kung paano mo nire-represent yung mga bagay-bagay, yun ang pagkakaintindi mo. Hindi mo naiintindihan na parehas lang pala yung dami ng barya. Kasi ang mental representation mo, pag mahaba, ibig sabihin, mas madami. Parang ganon. Pag nakaproceed na siya doon, na hindi lang mental representation ang alam niya, mapupunta na siya sa concrete operation, ibig sabihin, marunong na siya yung conservation task, marunong siya mag-organize ng things on her mind, categories, organization, etc. Ang problema naman doon, okay, organized na yung thoughts niya, naiintindihan niya yung mga ibang bagay, pero hindi naman siya marunong mag-abstract. Masyado naman siyang concrete thinking. So ngayon, pag nag-proceed na siya sa formal operations, wherein adolescent stage na siya, at first time niyang matuto ng abstraction, okay, strength yon. Pero pwede rin limitation. Ang limitation is masyado namang idealistic. Kaya di ba yung mga adolescent gano'n, parang, oy, makibaka tayo, sige, gano'n. Kung ano yung sabihin ng mga classmates, at tingin nila, okay, sige. Yun yung adolescent egocentrism, no? They have a tendency to abstract in a, well, in a relatively wrong way, no? To the point na yan, pwede sila magkaroon ng imaginary audience concept. Although, sa panahon kasi ngayon, mukhang posible nga naman na lahat ng tao sa mundo nanonood sa'yo, no? Dahil nasa Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Pero the idea that people are actually so much interested to you, no? Yan yung imaginary audience concept, or even the personal fable concept naman on the idea of you have a very unique story, and that your experiences are so unique, etc. No? Ang problema pala, menstruation. Lahat naman, mga babae, yung problema sa menstruation. Nakuha niyo yung point? No? Now, ang problema dyan ganito, when it comes to risk-taking behaviors, how can you link that with the risk-taking behaviors? So, feeling nila, sabi doon sa pakayatin ng sigarilyo, pwede akong magkaroon ng cancer, ako, di ba? Nakalagay doon sa wasak-wasak yung baga eh. Pero ako, okay naman ako eh. Nakailang beses na ako manigarilyo. Hindi nga ako hirita eh. Hindi naman ako inubo. Ayos nga ako eh. Siguro talaga ako, hiyang ako sa sigarilyo. Parang gano'n. So they have this idea to create their own story as if they're actually very unique, or they have a different experience with other people. When in fact, hindi ganun yung idea eh, no? So they were able to abstract things inappropriately, no? So that's the problem there. So number ano na tayo? 40. Oh. Number 40. He is best known for his theory of development person state justice or moral reasoning, obviously. 40 letter Dog Goldberg. Si Goldberg, yung moral development, naalala nyo? Pero si Gilligan is about number 41. Letter B, Gilligan, for number 41. Ito naman, ang moral development niya is anchored about what? Care, concept of care, concept of equality when it comes to gender. Yan. 42. The Neo-Freudians, Karen, focus on parental behaviors that cause child to experience formal anxiety, child ways of overcoming that anxiety. This concept of anxiety is defined feeling of helplessness, isolation in the hostile world. Alam niyo na to. 42 letter, dog, basic anxiety. Okay? So may mga specific terminologies with different theorists. Ha? For example, last time with the case conference nung MWF section, parang they're trying to explain existentialist perspective, di ba? Sa case, nag-case conference kayo, di ba? Yeah. With Sir Ron. So may isang case doon, they try to explain it with humanist existentialist perspective, pero nabanggit nila yung basic anxiety. So hindi yun po pwede. I mean, basic anxiety is a unique concept linked to the psychoanalytic perspective. So you need to remember there are specific concepts, okay? So baka nalito lang yung bata, akala nyo sa basic anxiety, so well, the anxiety na not shrouded by a certain whatever. And that's the social definition. Pero there's a concept, at least with the Neo-Freudians regarding basic anxiety. You need to check. Even with your books, you need to check some of the specific concepts. Inferiority complex, Na, yung mga syntaxic, prototaxic, yung mga ganyan, yung mga pinauuso nila, you check, ha? Kasi ang gagawin niya, lilituin lang kayo pagdating ng board exam, eh. Maglalabas lang sila ng mga magkakatunog. Projection, prototaxic, syntaxic, ataxic. Ataxic gate yun, eh. Yung sa may Parkinson. Napakalayo niya sa prototaxic at syntaxic at saka projection. Nakuha niyo yung point? So, they will just make you very confused to the point na kailangan padamihan ng alam na concept. No? Para kahit iba to as distractor, maintindihan niyo. I'm speaking on behalf of the experiences of the previous board exam takers. Sabi nila talaga kailangan marami kang nabasa. Para pag na-encounter mo siya, hindi ka malilito na, ay ano to? Kasi pag hindi mo siya alam, isasama mo pa siya sa choices. Diba? 4 yung choices mo. Hindi mo alam yung isa alam mo, mali na. So 3 pa yung pinagpipilian mo instead na 2 na lang. Dahil lang sa hindi mo alam yung concept kung related ba siya o hindi. Nakuha niyo yung point? So, sometimes, strategy din yan sa board exam. You need to have that strategy. Sabi nga di ba nung nakaraang hindi porket ikaw yung number 1 nung college years mo, ikaw na yung magtatap sa board exam. No? Tapos yung professor ka naman dati sabi, the board exam is actually a logic exam. It's a logic game. Nagkataon lang na you need to have certain knowledge to play the game. It's actually logic game. Parang ganun yung idea niya. So, ibig sabihin, you really need to outwit or strategize your way to the board exam. So, hindi lang basta review ng review. Kailangan may atake ka to do that. Okay? Number, 43. Brian is an IT specialist working for a large firm. He considered by all to be accepting, willing to work with others, being caring. Which of the personality 5 model does he belong to? The best answer is dog. Agreeableness. Alam niyo naman ang pinagkaiba-iba ng mga yan, di ba? Yung big 5 na yan. Lilima na nga lang yan eh. O sama niyo pa yung disinhibition, 6. Di ba? So, sasakit ang ulo natin pag yung mga lower order traits. Yung mga very specific. For example, sa 16 PF, di ba ang dami doon? Yung mga lower order traits yun, sakit sa ulo nila tandaan lahat. Di ba? So, hopefully the board exam, yung mga simple ang lumabas. Pero remember, ang 16 PF is a standard test for assessment. For example, sa OFW. Sino dito nag-work sa testing? Yung mga OFW, yung mga for assessment para makapagtrabaho sila abroad. Ang nakasunod sa batas, 16 PF yung i-exam. Despite na mas maraming ibang magagandang personality test, still 16 PF yung ginagamit. BPI ba pwede din?
Sir, yun ang ginagamit nila sa BPI.
BPI? Kasi chinek ko yung nung nakaraan, kasi nag-uusap kami ni Ma'am Trina nung nakaraan regarding sa testing sa OFW. 16 PF tsaka BPI. Parang gano'n. Naghahalininan lang sila. So yun. So kumbaga, halimbawa, kung ako yung board member at ako gagawa ng exam, gagawin ko yung mga real world practical use ng pagiging psychometrician. So ititignan ko ano ba ginagawa ng mga psychometrician in the wild. O yan, nagpapa 16 PF. So gagawin ko yung board exam ko. Magtatanong ko ng mga items tungkol sa 16 PF. Not the procedure, but the concept at least. Diba? Pero hindi ganun yung nangyari sa board exam. So, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Malapit na sila mapalitan. Yung mga board members, malapit na mapalitan. Kaya magpapalit din yung the way they ask questions. Inaabangan namin yan. Ha? Hindi pa ngayon. Baka next year. Ang scoop ko nga nung nakaraan, yung professor ko sa human dev, in-invite na maging board member.
Tama.
Oo, sabi ko, naku, maraming babagsak. Kasi ang hirap niya magbigay ng Pero there's advantage, of course. Kasi lahat ng alam niya. Kaya, paano siya mag-isip, alam natin yan. Pero hindi siya eh. So, binabangan ko yung profile ng mga board members eh. Kung sino yung mga Anyway. Kasi yung expertise nila yung malamang lalabas na. For example, katulad niyan, maraming adhere yan. Bakit adhere yan? Puro Eric Fromm yung lumalabas sa board exam. Kasi yung mga board members, ganun eh. Yun ang model nila to do the therapy. So, Thunder sa Conrego, do Thunder. Anyway, sige. Number ano na? 44. Carl Rogers' person-centered therapy is based on theory that providing a therapeutic atmosphere is real, caring, non-judgmental, can develop their full potential, which is not one of the basic requirements for a therapist. 44. Ang sagot dyan, the best answer is positive regard. Diba? Kasi, salamat. Kasi dapat unconditional positive regard, diba? And at the same time, lahat naman ay tama, no? You need to have the genuineness when it comes to the way you interact. No? Sabi nga nila, kaya nga daw nagkakaproblema, no, sa social interaction and the way you develop your identity. Kasi yung mga tao sa paligid minsan hindi genuine to their feelings. Sabi nagpaplastikan. That's a very simple example. Pero minsan even in the family, di ba? Hindi open lahat ng family members, etc. So, problema yan. So, dapat kapag therapist ka, you somehow create or recreate an environment that will what? That will foster the development of the personality of your client. Okay? Well, of course, most of you will be psychometricians. So, hindi kayo on the therapy. Pero at least you know the idea. Lalo pa magre-recommend kayo. Yun naman ang anchor niya when it comes to intervention. You will recommend in the psych report. Congruence, of course. No? When it comes to the way you interact and the way you feel when it comes to a certain context or situation na pinag-uusapan. Empathy, of course. Diba sabi nga nila, it's not sympathy but empathy. No, that you understand the situation of another person, not necessarily to feel it, no? Na, ay, namatayan siya, lungkot na lungkot siya, ikaw na rin, parang ang sad-sad mo na rin. Diba? No? Dapat empathic ka. No? You know, that you understand her situation, so dapat you need to be able to use all your skills to help that person. Diba? It's positive regard, no? The answer. Kasi dapat unconditional. Okay, 45. The most commonly used personality assessment, ito, use na to. By experience, malamang alam nyo rin to. 45 letter, go. Self-report inventories. No? Dahil yan, madaling ibigay eh. Pwede ka mapag-group testing. Lahat yan bigay mo. O kahit computer-aided, pero self-report pa rin yun eh. Diba? Bibigay mo lang. Unlike projective test, okay, bibigay mo, pero i-analyze mo pa yan. Kausapin mo pa yung patient kung depende sa procedure ng projective test. Even naturalistic observation, prone naman to sa bias. Prone sa observer bias sa inter-rater concerns. So, hindi siya ginagamit. Ang structured interview, ginagamit din yan for personality assessment. Ang problema, depende kung anong structured interview yung ginagamit. I mean, some structured interview are really meant to be measured, pero yung iba, kayo lang ang gumawa. So, paano mo mako-quantify? That's one problem. Kaya nga meron tayong mga personality tests talaga, which is most of them are self-report in nature. Diba? Yes. MBTI, UFI, RCCPF, lahat yan puro self-report eh. Self-efficacy, number 46. Diyos ko, hanggang ngayon hindi pa lumalabas sa board exam si Pandura. Kaya kung ang naging board member yung prof ko, naku, puro Pandura yung tatanong mo.
Pero naman sir.
Ha? Meron ba? Uy, meron. Ano lumabas? Yun, as in yun ang sagot? O distractor siya? Ah, meron at least. Oh, take it from the, from someone who took the board exam. Natandaan pa niya. Natatandaan mo pa yun. O yun lang yung natatandaan niya. Kasi yun ang mahirap. Hindi, joke lang. Self-efficacy, according to Bandura, is 46, letter E. How competent you feel to accomplish tasks and goals. At least for the board exam purposes, it's the best answer here, okay? Adler would not have agreed with the importance of each of the following ideas. 47. Book and deal. Kumbaga, hinahanap lang dito yung ano yung congruent sa mga concepts tsaka si Adler. Diba? Sabi sa inyo yung mga board questions sa board exam, isang ganun lang 48. Which one of the following is not developmental tasks of middle adulthood? 48, letter dog. Oy, maraming nagkakamali dito sa 48 na naaalala ko with the item analysis. Bakit kayo nagkakamali dito? Ang explanation with the 48D, engaging with risk behaviors, kanino yan? Anong grupo yan? Adolescents, di ba? Or you can argue, if you are holding new researches regarding ARNet about emerging adulthood, yun, mas marami yung emerging adulthood. Yun yung, you're familiar with that? Emerging adulthood stage? Bago yun You have adolescent stage, tapos diba meron ka ng adulthood. From adolescent, diba, late adolescence, tapos young adulthood. Sabi nila sa panahon ngayon, no, there is a period wherein hindi pa talaga napupunta sa young adulthood yung tao. Diba, ang late adolescent is somewhere around, sabihin na natin, hanggang 18 o 21. Yan, depende. Yan. Pagdating mo ng age niya, dapat young adulthood ka na. Pero based sa research ni Arnett, and a lot of researchers also followed the line of thinking, there is actually what we call the emerging adulthood stage. Somewhere around 21 to 30. I'm 30 years old, so nandun pa ako. The joke. Ayaw ko maging adult. Emerging adulthood. The emerging adulthood stage is characterized by a period of exploration regarding a lot of things. They're trying to explore what careers are okay with them. They're trying to explore themselves romantically, for example. Kasi syempre nung adolescent kayo, di ba may mga certain constraint pa, like, ay, nag-aaral pa, bawal pa mag-boyfriend, ganito, ganyan. Ay, bata pa, bawal pa mag-sex, mga ganon. Pero pagdating ng emerging adulthood, hala, bira. Di ba? And that behavior of exploration, both when it comes to career, life choices, even partners, even substance use. Sabi nila, in the past, madami daw ang risk-taking behaviors with adolescent stage. Pero epidemiologically speaking, pag tinignan mo, ang pinaka-peak ng risk-taking behaviors is somewhere around 21 going 25. That's the period of emerging adulthood. Tapos nagkaroon din sila ng qualitative interview. Tinanong nila yung mga young adult, tsaka yung mga nasa emerging adulthood, tsaka yung mga adolescent. Sa tingin mo ba adult ka na? So there is a segment of the population na sinasabi, hindi na ako bata, I'm not a girl, not yet a woman. I'm not an adolescent, pero parang hindi pa ako matanda. Tapos ka na ng college, hindi ka na adolescent, pero kasama mo pa rin yung nanay mo sa bahay. Sino dito yung ganon? So parang hindi pa kayo fully adult. Kasi hindi naman dahil sa pagkasama sa bahay yung pagiging adult eh. Pero the way you do things, no? There are some responsibilities that are shared na hindi ganun ang quality pag adult ka na eh. No? For example, there was, ako, on my personal note, there was a time na naramdaman ko parang matanda na ako. Alam niyo kung bakit? Lahat ng bills ako na nagbabayad. Nagbabayad na ako ng meral o ng... Sabi ko, hindi ko ito ginagawa dati. Nung 24 ako, matanda na ako. Kasi young adulthood yun, di ba? 24. Matanda na ako, pero may mga bagay na nanay ko pa rin ang gumagawa. Nakuha niyo yung point? And then there's a period where you explore things na hindi mo pa alam talaga kung ano mangyayari. Matanda ka na, okay. Pero hindi ka tulad nung matanda, like, for example, yung mga professors natin, o yung mga nanay nyo, na alam na nila talaga kung anong gagawin nila sa buhay nila. So that's the emerging adulthood stage. Actually, kayo, nandun kayo. If we subscribe to the idea. Okay? So compared dun sa idea about millennials, tik-tik yung term ng millennials na yan eh. Wala namang developmentally sound research about millennials. I-PM nyo nga ako kung meron, pero sa pagkakalam ko wala. So the one that is has a sound research backing is the emerging adulthood stage. For all we know, the millennial term, tsaka yung generation X, Y, Z, yung mga ganyan, it's a market term. It's popularized by media and the market, ng mga negosyante, to position their products to certain segments of population. But it's not developmentally sound. Nakuha niyo yung point? To be able to pinpoint a certain stage, you need to really pin down what characterizes this stage as a distinct stage. Yun ang ano eh. Yun ang point doon. So anyway, 40 na tayo. 49? Giving positive reinforcement. Hindi. Oo, tama. So 48 letter dog, no? Engaging distinct behaviors. Adolescent stage yan or emerging adulthood. Hindi ka tulad ng middle adulthood, yung A, B, C, F, E yan, ginagawa nila yan. Taking stock of accomplishment. Kasi syempre, with the careers that they have, no, yung iba nasa managerial na, supervisory, may mga awards na, oh, commitments about family work, sabi nga kasi hindi lang about career yan. Tsaka yung dealing with illness and death, parental illness and death, so middle adulthood yan. Isa yan sa mga sad part ng middle adulthood. Kasi yung mga ibang relatives sila namamatay na. Okay? 49. Giving positive reinforcement intermittently at a variable schedule, best way to prevent, obviously, C, extinction. Kasi pag continuous reinforcement, nawawala ng effect ang reinforcer. Hindi ka tulad yung paminsan-minsan lang. Oh. Gaano kadalas ang minsan? Yan. Ano yan? It can prevent extinction. Okay. 50. You are introduced to a child with physical deformity. When would you predict that deformity would have greatest psychological impact? 50. Letter? Actually, letter dog. Okay. Now, ganito ang concern niya. Why letter dog is the best answer. If we're talking about the development of the identity, which, well, that will be, the large part will be psychological. Identity is, of course, in the adolescence, di ba? Oh. That's actually the only reason why it's letter dog. Not to discount that the physical deformity affects all the developmental stages. Pero if it's about the psychological impact, it will be on the early adolescence. Yan na yung talagang maano niya na, ma-absorb niya na yung idea na na bakit ganito ako, no? Iba yung itsura ko, tapos nabubuli pa siya, yan. Diyan yan. Okay, 50 letter go. Okay? Let's have a 5-minute bladder break. 5 minutes lang. I'll just check on this and probably want to go to the restroom also. Regulate na natin ito. Okay? Nagre-record na. Okay, so ito, buti hawak ko na yung item na may kopya pa lang. Check ko lang mabuti kung parehas tayo. Sorry. Nahanap ko kasi yung mas bagong item analysis na line. Nandito sa kabila. So, okay. So, 51. So, a patient comes into your office and explains away why he beat his brother with his baseball bat. He gives several examples of how his brother had mistreated him in the past. Says that, so, ito nag-ano siya, no? It's more about projection, no? And he tries to blame his brother bakit ganun yung naging behavior niya. So, sabi ko sa if there's an element of blaming the other person, it's projection already. 52. Which of the following is false regarding Freud's theory of human development? 52. Letter C. Itong marked increase in sexual interest, dapat yan sa letter C ay, ano? Ano yan dapat? Genital to, genital. Ang latency is interest with the peer group. Especially about cooperation, competition for the school age, diba? 53. Which of the following is considered mature defense mechanism or at least relatively mature? You will answer, best answer is, ano sinagot nyo? 53? A, subdivision. So remember, most of the defense mechanisms are actually, there are relatively immature defense mechanism. There are relatively mature defense mechanisms. Most of the books will place sublimation somewhere in the middle, going towards the mature defense mech. So, yeah. 54. Horny, children develop feelings of security when, letter B, parents show comfort, warmth, affection. This is relatively obvious already for the choices, no? 55. Helplessness, fear, hostility create what Horney called C. Basic anxiety again. 56. Person who manipulate others to achieve their own ends represent neurotic and neurotic trend called moving D. Against people. 57. In Horney's view, the Oedipus complex for women, letter boy, does not exist. While in 58, personalities are driven to seek control of superiority. 58, letter C. Tama, aggressive. So nakikita niyo itong mga terminologies. These are very specific terminologies. You need to read them so that you'll be familiar with some of the situation, context, or scenarios na posibleng mag-appear yan. Okay? Importante yan. 59. Kelly believed that individuals make their own choices and decision. Letter B. How about in 60? Person who maintains that anything which is a cup is nothing but a cup. 60 is letter A. No, preemptive construct. No, whereas yung permeable construct, mas flexible, no? The way they view things. Nababago. And they can accept new information as well. Di katulad pag preemptive, they already have pre-consumption and it's really more fixed in nature. No? Amoy lumpia. Amoy maasim na lumpia. Hindi kumakain dyan. Baka may goto pang kasama yun. Ano masarap ko dyan eh. Yung walang aircon tapos gano'n. Okay lang, kain lang. Para 61. Kelly discussed the relationship between superordinate and subordinate construct. In what? What corollary is that? 61. More on organization corollary. So ang tao daw, no, diba, regarding corollary, we have ways of thinking about things. And these 11 corollaries are some of the basic mechanisms on how we think. Yung organization corollary, there's a tendency for us to what? To place some of the concepts we know in certain hierarchies. May mas mataas, may mas mababa, may priority, may less priority, etc. So yan. Yan yung construct or yan yung corollary that guides it. Choice corollary is about, of course, the term itself about choice. So people have tendency to actually what? Deal with choices. So naalala niyo ba what we went from, for example, in Kelly's cognitive theory of the personality. So, probably inappropriate use of the corollary o masyadong strict. No? So, if you cannot deal with your fragmentation, for example, o masyadong strict yung pag-follow mo about the organization corollary. For example, Japanese, yung mga East Asian countries, they have this way of thinking wherein talagang yung honorific, you know the honorific titles and the way they really attribute respect to people older than them. So yeah, they have that tendency to organize social relationship based on age and gender. That's very strict for them. So matala sa atin, okay lang. Minsan kahit mas matanda lang, pare lang ang tawag mo. Okay? So, even with some of the professors, sabi nila sa akin, tawagin lang daw sila by first name. Pero parang, nahiya naman ako. No, kasi sa akin, meron akong idea, no, at least yung corollary ko is, kahit pa paano, I need to maintain certain professional structure. Sa mga Japanese, tsaka sa mga Korean, di ba? Di ba, sino yung mga K-drama, di ba? Minsan nag-aasaran sila, mas matanda pa rin siya ng 1 taon. Kailangan pa rin daw siyang respetuhin. Kalimutan ko na kung ano yung K-drama yun. Ano? Oo, yung na Sunday, gano'n. Okay. 60, ano na tayo? 2. Diba? 62. Oh. When we learn that red light is a cue for us to bring the car to a halt, whereas green light indicates that we can proceed, Skinner would say that we have learned what? 62 letter. Ano yan? C. Discrimination. Kasi ang stimulus generalization, ang scenario niya is, for example, we associate red for danger. Ayan. So yung simple stimulus, you generalize it on a lot of things about danger. Kaya nga, di ba, lahat ng mga signs na may danger, may kulay pula. Pero ito, dinistinguish niya, no? Discriminate niya, that's the term itself, between red and green. Kaya tayo, kapag pinakitaan tayo ng green, iba yung response natin. Kasi nadi-discriminate natin yung mga stimulus. Okay? So, letter C yan. 63. In Skinner's view, punishment is letter O. Temporality suppressed behavior. 64. When we walk away from a person who insulted us, we have a self-control technique called 64C. Physical restraint. 65. Skinner thought that when therapists use guidance as a technique, 65. C ulit. They obscure the reinforcement actually responsible for the change in the client's behavior. 66. In Skinner's view, the study of cause and effect relationship between events based on an underlying assumption of determinism. Diba? Yun yung cause and effect. Naalala niyo ba yun? Di ba may mga iba-ibang regarding the issues and discussions on theories of personality, diba? So, yung iba medyo deterministic. They know that there are really causes to certain behavior. Yan, behaviorist yan, Skinner. 67. Oh, if man sees a man rewarded for saving a child from drowning, he is, 67, more likely to imitate the man's behavior. Letter boy. 68. Adults with high efficacy expectation tend to, yan ang concern, letter C. No? They will try to do challenging tasks. Kasi nga nag-succeed sila, no? In the first place with their high efficacy expectation. 69. B. No? Expend maximum effort in trying to solve challenging tasks. Yan nga yung problema. Kapag mataas ang efficacy mo, okay, sige, that, on some point that's good because you have this confidence to really do the task or the thing. Pero sometimes na over-exaggerate din yung efficacy mo. To the point that they will try to really do this challenging task even if hindi naman na talaga kaya in the first place. No, so there's still need, ibig sabihin, kailangan din ng balance. Okay? Hindi porket mataas ang efficacy, okay. Yun nga masaklap eh. Mataas ang efficacy mo on doing the wrong things. Posible yun. Diba? Like gambling, or driving under the influence of a substance. Yan. May mga research tungkol dyan. Mataas ang self-efficacy nila na gawin yun. Kasi lagi naman nilang naliligtasan yung batas. So yun ang problema. It's not good. It's not a good application of efficacy. So kailangan din talaga balance at nasa tamang application. No? 70. If Mark continually overacts to harmless remarks by other student, Jung will maintain that he is likely to be 70, probably letter boy, no? Introverted sensing. While in 71, George has strong needs to become politician, Jung will claim na baka siya ay may letter C, extroverted intuitive. How about in 72? Jung broke from Freud's concept kasi nga dog. O, gano'n lang naman kasimple na it's really a bonus question. He decided to follow his own ideas. 73. The greatest disagreement between Jung and Freud is about what? The nature of libido. Okay. How about in 74? According to Jung, all of the following are major systems of psyche except letter A, libido. 75. What type is logical, objective person who lives strictly by society's rules? 75. Letter A. And yun, extroverted thinking. While in 76, Jane has to make a decision. She wants to go to party and have fun tonight. However, she has a test and knows she will fail if the test if she does not study. No? Her ego would say, 76, ang pinaka-best answer, A. You better stay home. Yung letter B, sino kaya nagsabi niya? Yung mga beshies, diba? Yung mga beshies, go to the party, yeah. Eh, yung letter C, sino nagsabi niya? Yung nanay. That girl, take your party. O yung boyfriend na, I fail. Eh, yung letter D, don't do anything. Sino kaya nagsabi niya? Distractor lang, no? Hindi ko maiisip yung letter D. Sagot na walang pakialam no? Kaya mo na lang. Okay. So number 77, according to Alport, characteristics that dominate person's life are called, ito obvious na to, 77, letter, dog, cardinal traits. While in 78, intimacy and compassion are both part of mature person's ability to sagot, to relate warmly with others. 79, indiscriminate acceptance of society's demand. Dito marami nagkakamali. Madali lang to. Letter, dog. Unhealthy. Bakit? Ano ibig sabihin ng indiscriminate acceptance? Yung bang kung ano lang sabihin ng society, okay, sige, payag ka, okay yun. Or you follow it. So ikaw, naging masyado kang rigid and you cannot have your own way of deciding for yourself. So ito yung mga mataas ang control ng super ego sa kanila, no? At hindi rin okay yung gano'n. No? 80. In Eisen's theory, people who are cold, inhumane, aggressive are called A. Psychotic. While 81, Rogers called active on controlling drive towards fulfillment of potential as A. Self-actualizing tendency. So, bonus na ito. 82. When individuals act in self-destructive ways, Rogers blame it on 82. C. Faulty socialization practice. While in 83, if they are to grow constructively, individuals must C. Trust their own wisdom. So yung minsan yung mga question, lang, parang common sense lang. Parang kahit naman sino sumugot ito. Maliban na lang kung taga-Vatican, seek help from church. Joke lang. 84. Rogers believed that individuals who are self-accepting, 84, also accepting it to others. Natanong na ba ito sa isang makisa? Hindi ko natandaan. Natanong o akala ko na. 85. For clients to experience personal growth, ang therapist dapat ay congruent sa relationship. Diba? Yun yung isa sa mga requirements kanina na alala niyo yung isang item kanina. Genuine, congruent, shows empathy, can be trusted, diba? Has integrity, yung mga yun. 86, slot machines operate on 86, letter C, variable ratio. While in 87, in behavior modification therapy, unconscious motivating forces, behavior modification yan. So kung 87, dapat ang sagot nyo ay ignored, letter C. Kasi behavior modification therapy behaviorist yan. 87 ito, letter C, ignored. Or at least hindi sila ganun ka salient or not prioritized in whatever intervention is collaborated with the patient. 88. Which of the following best describes Skinner's image of human nature? So, malamang sa malamang, letter A. So, So, yung mga theories of personality natin, hindi lang sila about the concept, about the theory ng personality, but they also tell something about our human nature. Now, remember with Sir Ron's discussion, you may want to go back there. Yung mga idea about determinism, change, control, and even the idea about learning versus maturation, freedom, and ganyan. Lahat yan. 80, ano na tayo? 89. 89. Erikson included all of the following in his theory of personality, but not boy. Kasi ang focus niya is about the social interaction. And although the stages mirrors with Boy. Actually, even with Piaget, even with moral development, even yung mga career development theories, may iba nag-overlap talaga with the age range. So, it somehow gives you some clue when it comes to those stages. 90. At each stage of psychosocial development, letter dog. Adaptive and maladaptive coping are incorporated into ego identity. So, syempre, of course, mas maraming adaptive ways of doing things dapat. Less of the maladaptive ones. Okay. 91. According to Erikson, malignancies develop when? 91C. Kung puro maladaptive lang yung ginagawa mo, kahit naman anong theory, no, diba? Excessive use of defense mechanism, or over-reliance, for example, to positive regards, no? Unable to assess or have this self-awareness, etc. Problema yun. Nasa na tayo? 93? 92 pala. Ay, natuloy na ako. 92. Failure to adapt at one developmental stage. 92 letter. Dog. Bakit? Anong concern dito, no? Sa failure to adapt at one developmental stage? No? The best answer is letter dog. This, aside from the idea that this is realistic and at the same time more optimistic answer, no? You check also the other items. Tignan nyo yung letter A. Leads to despair instead of ego integrity. That is something debatable. We can of course argue, pero the idea is we can actually have changes along the way. Diba? So pag meron kang hindi na-solve to sa previous developmental stage, okay, pagdating mo sa susunod, magkakaproblema ka, pero there's still way to change it. Yun yung sinasabi ng letter double. Okay? So yung A, B, and even letter C are all talking about a very inflexible nature of our development, whether it's personality, whether it's about the identity or social interaction, etc. Which is actually hindi pa yun na totoo, di ba? May kinakatay mo ba? Nangyari sa labas. Kung ano-ano na nakamdaman natin kanina, may lumpia, may kinakatay na babo. Tokwa na lang, tsaka gotok. 93. Each of the following is a psychological type or status in the adolescent stage except, ito yung 93 letter boy, identity competence. Okay? So, walang term na identity competence if I'm not mistaken. So, distractor siya. So, ito, yung idea about moratorium or even yung identity diffusion, ganyan, di ba? Eric Erikson. Yung about the moratorium is popularized by Marcia, no? Regarding the specific development of the adolescents. Okay. So, merong iba under moratorium, yung bang hindi sila nakapag-decide on themselves on what identity to take. Kaya di ba may mga ibang adolescents, ganun yung pakiramdam nila. Yung parang hindi nila alam kung sino talaga ano ba talaga magiging sila. Ano ba talaga ang silbi ng buhay ko? O ano ba talaga magiging role ko? No? Common yan ba, kita mo sa mga new college students, no? Hindi pa nila nalalaman kung anong field talaga yung kanilang kukunin. No? Nasa moratorium sila. And they were not able to, at least for the moment, decide, no, to take a certain identity or role. That's a possibility. Okay? How about in 94? Allport and Murray believe that personality is a very complex and urge that the idea should be studied using 94 letter. Go. Interdisciplinary and idiographic. Ano pinagkaiba ng idiographic sa nomothetic? Oh. Yung idiographic, we're dealing with the uniqueness of the person. Okay? So dapat kapag pinag-aralan mo yung personality, talagang iintindihin mo yung tao, yung kalagayan niya, yung context niya, the psychological factors, even the biological underpinning of that person, etc., etc. That's idiographic. Ang nomothetic naman, we're dealing with the group, with the population. Kaya nga sa testing, present din yung term na yan, idiographic and nomothetic. Pag idiographic, talagang individual testing yan, interview, case study. Kapag nomothetic, we're dealing with group testing. Kasi we're dealing with group similarities. But of course, even difference. Pero the idea is, we're dealing all these people as if they have commonalities with them. There are universal things that we can observe with them. Pero sabi nga ni Allport and Murray, complex kasi ang personality. So, the idea between universals versus specific things on our personality, yan ang battle between idiographic and nomothetic. Okay? So, yung mga nomothetic, universals yung hinahanap. Ang idiographic, yung unique do sa person. Okay? Or something that will really distinguish that person apart from the other. Okay? 95. Based on Allport's idea of functional autonomy, which of one of the following would Allport believe is most likely to motivate the person? 95. Boy. Diba? So, posible sa board exam ang mga tanong parang ganyan. May concept, tapos ang bibigay sa choices, mga situations. Bago babasahin yung isa-isa, ha? 96. The emotional cleansing that occurs when a person vents his emotion. O, alam niyo ito, catharsis. No? Ginagawa niyo with the beshies. Diba? 97. Freud began to use free association with his patients when he learned that A. Cannot hypnotize all of them. Ano ba yun? Eh, ganun talaga. No? Yun ang sabi sa literature. 98. If Jim continually boasts his many female conquests, a Freudian might argue that he has not resolved conflicts that originate in what? 98. Boy, phallic stage. Okay? While in 99, if Harry continually looks to others to help him solve his problem, alam nyo na, 99 letter C, oral stage. Bakit kaya oral stage? No? Kasi because of that dependent personality. Remember, during the oral stage, di ba? Care is, the concept of care is being taught also. So, kung palagi siya nagde-depend, ibig sabihin hindi siya nakaget over with that process in the oral stage na kailangan ma-self-individuate siya and somehow there's some kind of independence with the other people. No? So, number 100. Which fundamental postulate corollary emphasizes the ordinal relationship? Organization pa din. No? Letter boy. Organization. Highest to lowest, order, priority, hierarchy, yan, organization yan. Okay? O, sige. O, let's pause for 2 minutes. Hanapin niyo yung abstract niyo, then we proceed with the rationalization. 2 minutes lang. Hanapin ko lang din.